For example, a bean plant looking for something to twine, given a pole within, I don't know, 8 inches, knows where that pole is somehow and will aim its spiraling reach at that pole. What is that about? Is it bouncing signals off of it? It's not unusual on psychedelics. In fact, there have been studies about how people become animists, basically during psychedelic experience, and their belief in animist ideas rises after a single experience. And this is true for rocks and rivers and all sorts of things. And I find that very interesting. Most scientists would say, this is myth. But if you look at the history of animism, I mean, it's only, we have 400 years of, the age of Enlightenment science. Before that, we were animists. And you go around the world, and most indigenous cultures are still animists. And children are animists by and large until they go to school. So it could be that we live in this anomaly of not believing nature is conscious in some sense. And maybe psychedelics are teaching us something we've forgotten or gotten beaten out of us. I mean, that's one way to look at it. I think that, as I said, I wanted to test this idea and see whether there was conventional scientific evidence for it. And there's fascinating work going on in what's in the field that calls itself, in a rather cheeky way, plant neurobiology. And these are people who fully realize there are no neurons in plants, but they're trolling conventional botanists. They're doing experiments that are demonstrating that plants can learn and remember, which is kind of amazing. How do you store a memory without neurons? They're finding plants that can solve problems, novel problems of existence, that can hear and see. In fact, they have 20 senses to our 5 or 6. That, for example, a bean plant looking for something to twine, given a pole within, I don't know, 8 inches, knows where that pole is somehow and will aim its spiraling reach at that pole. What is that about? Is it bouncing signals off of it? One of the spookiest things is the fact that the same anesthetics that put us out put plants out. And now you might think plants are already out, but they're not. They're just slow. And you take a plant with a fast behavior, like a Venus flytrap, and put it in a bell jar, give it anesthetic, and it won't react. So you have to ask yourself, what is lost when the plant is anesthetized?